What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Roll Tide Cafe, a part of the Bama Standard Network. Look, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe below if you guys like watching videos pertaining to college football and Alabama in particular. All right, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Isaiah Horton, the newly transferred wide receiver from Miami. He sat down and did an interview with Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network. It was about a 17 to 18-minute interview or podcast. If you guys want to check out the full thing, just open up the description below, and I'll make sure to put a link to that. But essentially, I watched the interview and I took two key things from that, which is why I'm making this video. And it should not be very long at all. But I do think it was worth making a video over. So, two things stood out to me in this interview. The first one is going to be how Isaiah Horton answered questions about him and his teammates. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because ever since Nick Saban left, the Nick Saban answers, a lot of them have disappeared. And I'm talking about saying the right things all the time and giving no information, right? Ever since Kalen DeBoer showed up in Tuscaloosa, he has freed these guys, including freshmen, to talk to the media and give whatever information they want to give. We've seen Rock Montgomery, we've seen multiple others get on here and give information that you typically would not see underneath Nick Saban. Now, leave in the comments below, and if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, with that being said, his connection with his teammates was a focal point in this interview, and that makes me kind of excited. Why? Because Isaiah Horton has not been at Tuscaloosa for 2, 3, 4 years, right? He comes in and he's basically taking in and adopting the culture that they've created at Alabama. What that is, I have no idea, because all of last year, all we heard was the culture's bad. There's certain players creating problems, whatever that may be, right? But it seems like most of that, if not all of it, has diminished from what we've heard this past offseason through the spring. Now, whether that's the truth, I have no idea. But I can tell you, Isaiah Horton in this interview spoke highly on, look, I'm just going to do whatever the team needs. I'm 6'4", over 200 pounds. If they need me, they asked him, if they need you to line up at tight end and block, are you willing to do this? He said, absolutely. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this team to win. That's what this came down to. Spoke very highly on all his teammates, Latair Brooks, all the other wide receivers, Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, the quarterbacks, Ty Simpson, which I want to get into here in a minute, right? Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, the whole coaching staff, including Jamarcus Shepard, right? Kalen DeBoer and all these guys, Ryan Grubb. So, but with that being said, he spoke on one person in particular, Ty Simpson. And in case you guys didn't know this, he has a long history, I guess, with Ty Simpson that I didn't know about until I watched this interview. I guess him and Ty Simpson in high school were 7-on-7 roommates, or they were 7-on-7 teammates, whatever that was, whatever that looks like as far as high school and 7-on-7s go. But they do have a deep bond going all the way back to high school. So, and he did say that was part of the reason why he did commit to Alabama. So once again, I just loved hearing the fact that another player committed because of a bond, because of another player being there and him wanting to play with him. Now, does this give me tinglings of, it looks like Ty Simpson could be the starting wide receiver, because he does go in depth talking about, look, we've been working together. It seems smooth. And then he really kind of gives away a little bit on, he's most likely going to be the starter, in my opinion. When the interviewer, I don't know his name off the top of my head, asked, how Austin Mack and Keelan Russell look, is like, oh, well, those guys are battling it out, right? So, and to me, that means battling it out for second place, right? To be the backup, in my opinion. Whether that's true or not, whether he meant it like that, I have no idea, but it does seem like it's coming across that way. But either way, he goes on for a couple minutes talking about him and Ty Simpson, the connection they've always had, the 7-on-7s, you know what I mean? And then getting back together and seeing Ty Simpson and this thing being full circle after Isaiah Horton winning back-to-back now state championships, right? And all this other good stuff. And then the second thing I took really away from this, and that's going to be the coaching staff, right? This I found interesting. He talked a lot about how this coaching staff in particular goes beyond football. And this is really, really what I wanted to hear as an Alabama fan. He says, look, we talk X's and O's. We have camps, right? We have practices. We have all this good stuff going on, but it's more than just football, right? He talks about Jamarcus Shepard, in particular, talking about, hey, he's not just trying to teach me how to run routes or whatever. It's more about life. It's more about what could be after football. It's about becoming a man and stuff like that. And I found that really relieving. Why? It's not just because it sounds Nick Saban-esque, because look, Nick Saban's gone, we're moving on from that, but it's more about this is what you wanna hear when these kids come in, or not even kids, but grown men come in and they wanna talk about this coaching staff. It's not just about they're great at developing me and getting to the NFL. These guys are doing way more than that, right? There's a deeper bond going on, and I think when you have that deeper bond, and Isaiah Horton and maybe Ty Simpson and these guys that have been here a while, Jalen Morrow, can speak to other players on that, it will keep them cemented in Tuscaloosa and not just run off for NIL money. Now, how effective that's going to be, I have no idea, because we know the entire landscape of college football is changing because of the NIL. The transfer portal rules are changing. It seems like year after year, they're actually trying to shrink that window down from a 30-day and a 15-day window to only a 30-day window one time, right? So many things are changing, but I love how Isaiah Horton opens up about the staff, right? So I highly advise you to go watch the full interview. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that, like I said, he so openly talked about his teammates and he openly talked about the coaching staff. And it's not just about football, guys. But we're here to do more than that. We're here to grow up. We're here to become men. And this coaching staff is definitely helping in part of that process, including Kalen DeBoer. He spoke heavily on Kalen DeBoer's leadership, right? Putting things together. And it really stood out to me that he didn't mention Ryan Grubbs except a couple times, I think maybe twice. And then reading a couple articles on how Ryan Grubbs is coming in and affecting this coaching staff in particular, bringing more intensity, right? Yelling more at the players, keeping them more in line. It seems like Ryan Grubb is the captain of the ship, right, of the offense. And Kalen DeBoer now has more one-on-one time to work with the quarterbacks and run it as more like a CEO style head coach. Um, that makes me feel really good. Why? Because it's not a brand new offense coordinator, Nick Sheridan, doing this. Ryan Grubb has plenty of experience. And number two, I think this is what made Michael Penix, so effective, is that he had one-on-one time with Kalen DeBoer all the time to help the QB develop, right? If there's one thing Kalen DeBoer is known for, it's developing quarterbacks. He's done that everywhere he's been. And that was the problem last year. A lot of people were saying, well, Jalen Morrow, we're not getting the most out of him outside of his legs. That could be true, but Kalen DeBoer also didn't have much time to actually work with Jalen Morrow because he was helping Nick Sheridan at the same time learn how to become an offense coordinator. Now, is that on Kalen DeBoer? Absolutely 100%. But with Ryan Grubbs coming in, where he was supposed to be at last year, this should, in my opinion, help things tenfold, right? So I think whoever the starter is, I presume right now it's going to be Ty Simpson. It looks like this offense could be scary good, right? We're hearing great things out of the running back room. We're hearing great things from the receivers, especially lots of Air Brooks, Ryan Williams, right? Jeremy Bernard, all these guys, the obvious ones. And then you're hearing great things about the offensive line. It seems to be improving. And we know, well, maybe not, but Ryan Grubbs used to concentrate on the offensive line as well. So he brings that intensity to the offensive line. There was an interview done, I believe, with TD Alabama, where I can't remember who the offensive lineman was interviewed, but he spoke on Ryan Grubbs' intensity and how he does jump over to the offensive line a lot and chew them out and get them straight. And just brings that offensive line energy back there that wasn't there last year. So very, very interesting interview. Highly suggest going checking it out. Other than that, that's all I have for today. And as always, roll tide.